The missiles have stopped flying. For the first time in nearly 24 hours, the sky is quiet. No launch warnings, no impact alerts, no new targets flashing across military screens. But the war is not over, because what follows World War III is not fought with bombs or armies. It is fought with numbers, with systems, with panic. This is the day after, and this is how the global economy collapses in 72 hours. And markets wake up to a broken world. The sun rises over a planet that no longer functions the way it did yesterday. In New York, London, Tokyo, Frankfurt, Shanghai, financial districts sit intact, physically untouched, but inside their servers, the damage is already irreversible. At 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time, U.S. stock markets are scheduled to open. They don't. For the first time in modern history, the New York Stock Exchange announces an indefinite suspension of trading, not because prices are falling, but because prices no longer mean anything. Global markets attempt to price the unpriceable. Entire nations have gone dark. Supply chains have been severed mid-transaction. Insurance firms cannot calculate losses that span continents. Derivatives worth hundreds of trillions of dollars reference assets that may no longer exist. Oil futures, shipping contracts, currency swaps, all frozen, all radioactive with uncertainty. Banks begin emergency calls, not with customers, but with each other. Liquidity is vanishing. Interbank trust collapses first, because no bank knows which other bank is already insolvent. By hour 4, central banks issue synchronized statements. The Federal Reserve, the European Central Bank, the Bank of Japan, the People's Bank of China, all promise unlimited liquidity. But liquidity only works if the system still believes in tomorrow, and right now, no one does. The digital nervous system fails. At first, it looks like a technical issue. Payment terminals begin declining transactions. ATMs slow down. Mobile banking apps fail to load. Customer service lines explode. But this isn't congestion. This is containment. Behind the scenes, governments quietly issue directives. Daily withdrawal limits, capital controls, temporary transaction freezes. Not announced publicly, not yet, because panic travels faster than truth. Then the cyber attacks begin. Not random, not chaotic, surgical. Financial clearinghouses go offline. SWIFT. Message traffic becomes unreliable. Cross-border payments stall mid-transfer, neither completed nor reversed. Billions of dollars suspended in digital limbo. Shipping companies cannot verify letters of credit. Cargo ships stop accepting new destinations. Air freight halts. Insurance underwriters refuse coverage. Global trade, the circulatory system of civilization, begins to clot. By hour 12, factories lack authorization to release goods. Fuel distributors cannot secure payment guarantees. Food wholesalers delay shipments. No violence yet. Just hesitation. But hesitation is deadly in a system that depends on constant motion. Currency panic and the end of confidence. Money is not paper. It is belief. And belief is evaporating. Foreign exchange markets reopen briefly, then collapse. Currencies swing violently. The dollar spikes, then destabilizes. The euro fractures under internal strain. Smaller currencies are wiped out in minutes. Governments intervene. They always do. But this time, intervention accelerates the collapse. Emergency decrees convert savings into government bonds. Retirement accounts are temporarily restructured. Foreign holdings are frozen. The word temporary appears everywhere. No one believes it. Gold prices surge, then disappear, because physical gold cannot be delivered. Cryptocurrencies spike, then crash. Because electricity and internet access are no longer guaranteed. Hard assets become illiquid. Soft assets become imaginary. At grocery stores, payment systems flicker. Some cards work, others don't. Cash becomes king, briefly. Then cash runs out. By the end of day 1, banks remain closed, Markets remain frozen. Governments urge calm, but the economy is no longer centralized. It is fragmenting. From financial crisis to social shock, the second day begins with realization. The problem is not temporary. The problem is structural. Employers cannot process payroll, not because they lack money, but because payment rails are broken. Fuel deliveries slow dramatically, not from shortage, but from uncertainty. Drivers demand cash. Suppliers demand prepayment. Refineries shut down units they cannot insure. Hospitals switch to emergency power protocols, not due to outages, but because suppliers cannot guarantee resupply. Medical supply chains snap. Pharmaceutical inventories become strategic assets. Governments escalate control. Price controls appear. Rationing frameworks are drafted. Military logistics units begin supporting civilian distribution. Public trust fractures. Rumors spread faster than official statements, some true, some catastrophically false, but all believed. By hour 36, localized unrest begins, not riots. Lines, long, silent lines, at banks, at fuel stations, at food distribution centers. And when lines fail, crowds form. The world splits into economic islands. By the third day, the global economy no longer exists. It has become a collection of disconnected zones, nations with domestic energy, domestic food, domestic manufacturing stabilize faster. Others collapse inward. International debt becomes meaningless. Treaties are suspended. Trade agreements are ignored. Borders tighten. Exports halt. Imports vanish. A new hierarchy emerges, not of wealth, but of self-sufficiency. Central governments lose relevance. Local authorities gain power. Governors override capitals. Mayors override ministers. Communities improvise survival. Financial systems reboot, partially, but under new rules, new currencies, new exchange rates, new realities. At hour 72, the world has not ended, but the world you knew is gone. What comes next? World War III did not destroy civilization in a day. It exposed how fragile it always was. The missiles stopped, but the collapse continued. Not because of hatred, not because of ideology, but because modern civilization depends on trust. And trust, once broken, is the hardest system to rebuild. This was only the first 72 hours. What follows will redefine borders, reshape power, and determine who controls what remains. The war is over. The collapse has just begun. End.